Welcome all. In this video section, we will talk about the required softwares for Playwright, and we will see how to download and install and the configuration of the Playwright project. Okay, let's get started. Right. Required softwares for Playwright. Required softwares for Playwright. See, we required two things. One is Node.js, and second one is Visual Studio Code. See, first we must install Node.js. Playwright is developed on top of the Node.js. So that's why to recognize this Playwright, we must install Node.js. And the second thing is Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code is IDE to write the automation scripts. See, there are different kind of editors also there in the market, but Visual Studio Code is very powerful for especially for to implement JavaScript code. Okay, so these two things are required to start working with Playwright. Okay, the first thing is, let us see how to download and install Node.js. Download and install Node.js. See, first what you need to do is search for the Node.js. Let's say go to Google and search for download Node.js. Download Node.js. Okay, in the Google search box. Then next, click on Node.js link. So let us see. So in this, go to Google. What you can do, so search for download Node.js. See, this is the link, nodejs.org. So click on this link. And then download executable file according to OS. According to OS. See, it is showing the list of operating systems. So according to your operating system, you need to download the corresponding executable file. See, I'm using Windows operating system. I'm going to download this MSI file. And I'm using this 64-bit operating system. And I'm downloading this executable file. And once it is downloaded, just click on next. It is a simple and straightforward. Okay. Suppose if you are working with Mac, you can download this .pkg file and then you can install it. Okay, it's a simple and straightforward. Right. So once it is downloaded, and for execution and installation point of view, what you need to do, so it's a simple installation after you download it. After you downloaded the executable file. Okay, next thing is, once it is installed, it is present under C program files. So C directory is my operating system directory. Under that, there is a folder called program files. So inside you will see a folder called Node.js folder. Okay. So inside this Node.js, it will contain the different files and folders. Okay. So this is the a path for the Node.js. What you need to do to recognize this Node.js in the system, you have to create environment variable. You have to create environment variable. So how to create environment variable for the Node.js? Steps to create environment variable for Node.js. So how to create environment variable for Node.js? So right click on my computer or right click on this PC. Okay. Next, go to properties. Go to properties. Next, click on advanced system settings. And click on environment variable button under advanced tab. Next, go to system variables. Click on new button and here you need to provide the variable name as node underscore home and variable value. There are two things. You need to provide variable name and variable value. So what is the variable value you have to give? You have to provide the path of this Node.js. This is the path you need to provide under the variable value section. Next, click on OK. Click on OK button. Next, select path variable and click on edit button. So here, after clicking on edit button, so click on new button and then add this percentage node underscore home. Then okay, then okay. Okay, so these are all the steps to create the environment variable for the Node.js. Okay, so let us see practically. So right click on this PC, go to properties and click on advanced system settings. And you need to click on this environment variables button under this advanced tab. See here, there is user variable section and system variable section. Okay, so under system variable section, so very first time, what you need to do is, see here I already created, so that's why it is showing node underscore home. So very first time, to create this environment variable, click on this new button. So here it is asking variable name and variable value. So what you need to do, you need to provide node underscore home. This is variable name, and then the path of this node that you need to copy. Okay. So after that, click on OK. So once it is done, you need to select the path variable. You need to select this path variable. So click on edit. Click on edit. So already there are some values would be there. So don't disturb those values. Click on new. So in this new value section, so provide the path for the Node.js. So you need to provide the path like this, percentage node underscore home percentage. Okay. So after that, click on OK and then OK. Okay. Right. So to check that whether Node.js is installed and configured in your system, what you need to do is open command prompt, and here give the command called node-v. Now see, Node.js version is showing. There is another command called node-version. This is also will work. Okay, right. So now Node.js is installed and configured in our system. See, in the Node.js, the another important package is npm, Node Package Manager. So using this npm only, we are going to download and configure the other softwares which are all built on Node.js. Let's say I want to configure Playwright. So using this npm only, we are going to install and configure. See, there are different kind of projects which are all developed on top of the Node.js, especially for automation point of view, like Playwright, Cypress, WebDriver IO, and then Appium. So all these softwares are built on Node.js. Okay, so whenever you try to configure any kind of software library, you have to use this npm under. So npm stands for Node Package Manager. Okay, so let's see, I want to see the version of this npm-v. So whenever you install this Node.js, inside this Node.js, we will get npm also. Okay, so npm is also showing here. Okay, so let us write that step. Okay, so for verification, what is the command? Verifying whether Node.js is configured or not in our system. So use node, sorry, in the command prompt, node-v or node-version. This is checking the Node.js version. What is the second command? npm-v. This is for checking npm version. Okay, right. The second step is download Visual Studio Code. Download and install Visual Studio Code. Right. So same, go to Google, download Visual Studio Code. So this Visual Studio Code is also there for different operating systems. We are going to download depends upon our operating system. Okay, so we are going to use depends upon the 64-bit or 32-bit. We are going to download the exe file. Okay, so you click on here, it is going to download. So once it is download and it is going to, once it is downloaded, you can start, click on install. Again, it is also simple and straightforward. Okay, so once it is installed Visual Studio Code, what you need to do is we need to start creating the project for the Playwright. Okay, how to create project for the Playwright? See. Okay, so first step is create a project folder. Create a project folder for the Playwright in your system. Create a project folder for Playwright in your local system. Right. So let me create a project folder. So go to C directory. Let's say I have created a folder called tutorials. So under that, let me create a project folder that is, let's say, Playwright automation. So this is my folder name. Right. Okay. So next step is open Visual Studio Code. Open Visual Studio Code. See, go to open, go to file, click on this file, click on this file. Okay, open folder. So I'm going to point out this Playwright automation. Select folder. Okay, so now this folder is empty. This folder is empty. Nothing is there. Okay, so now inside this Playwright automation, we are going to configure the Playwright related things. Okay. Now what you need to do is you need to configure the Playwright inside this Node.js. Inside this Node.js, we need to configure it. Okay. So let us go to the official documentation of the Playwright. Click on Get Started. So the Node.js means here we are going to develop the programming with JavaScript. See, installing Playwright. So this is the command you need to give to configure the Playwright. See, how to give that command, how to provide this command. See here in the below left hand side, there is a cross symbol. Okay, you can click on here, or in the menu bar, there is something like a terminal. Okay, terminal, and then click on new terminal. Okay, so now we need to provide that command here. We need to provide that command here. Okay, so what is that command? Npm init playwright. And then at the rate latest. See, by default, it is going to install the latest version. Let's say if you want to install a specific version, so at the rate, after at the rate, you provide the version here. That's it. Okay. Now see, npm init playwright at the rate latest. Okay, this is the command you need to provide. And during installation, it will ask different kind of options. So create playwright. Okay. So okay to proceed. Yes. Click on here. And it will ask you to choose the language, on which language you want to automate, TypeScript or JavaScript. Okay. So I said, when I say Node.js means internally it is a supporting either JavaScript or TypeScript. Okay. Choose any one of the programming language. So here I'm choosing JavaScript. So in your keyboard, press arrow down button. Okay. So click OK. And then where to put your end-to-end tests. So that means in your project structure, there is a folder called tests. Inside the tests, you are going to implement your test scripts under. Okay. So I'm choosing the same option. I'm pressing OK. So add GitHub action workflow under. So right now we are not going to configure this GitHub. Okay. So that's why by default it is showing as false. Okay. Press OK. And install Playwright browsers. Internally, the Playwright is going to install the browsers which are all supported by the browsers under. So by default, it is going to take in care. Or let's say if you want to install manually, you have to use this command npx playwright install those that command you have to provide under. So by default, it is going to install. So press OK. Now it is going to installing the Playwright. So it will take some time to configure the Playwright project here. Okay, so it's done almost. So it's downloaded. Now it's downloading the Firefox. So now it is downloading WebKit. WebKit in the sense Safari. Okay. Now happy hacking. Okay. So now it is installed. Okay. And it also provides the different type of commands for the execution point of view. Okay. So let's say if you want to execute your test scripts in Playwright, you have to use this npx playwright test. When you want to execute your test scripts with UI mode, so this is the command. So all these things under it is provided, the command. Okay, right. Now see, if you expand this project, see Playwright is not only an automation tool, it also provides the project structure to implement your test scripts end to end. Okay, so whenever you try to install and configure your project, it's not going to install only the Playwright. It also provides the project structure where you are going to implement your test scripts under. See, there is a folder called the tests folder. So in this tests folder, we are going to implement our Playwright test scripts. By default, it is provided this example.spec.js. Okay, and then inside there is one more folder is created. It is showing some scenarios list of scenarios for the demo point of view. So that is also it is provided as part of the project structure. And the main thing is package.json. See, this is node project management file. Let's say whenever you try to create a project which is based out of the node.js, the package.json file will be created. How would you say this is a node.js project? By seeing this package.json, you will come to know that. Okay, you will come to know that by seeing this package.json. So under this node.js, let's say whenever you try to configure any Playwright or Cypress or maybe any other kind of other libraries, all those libraries and all will be added under this package.json. Let's say if you're trying to see this information, it's kind of like pom.xml under the Maven. Whenever you try to work with the Java project, so there you are trying to use build management tool called Maven. So under Maven, the pom.xml is the file, right? So that is going to taking care all your dependencies and the project related things. So similarly for the Node.js point of view, this package.json is the file. So here this is the information which is talking about the project, and then any kind of dependencies we are trying to add on top of the Node.js, that and all it is going to add under the dev dependency section. Whenever you try to configure this Playwright, once it is installed, that Playwright information would be added under this dev dependency section under the package.json. So similarly, tomorrow when you want to add some kind of like plugins like a Cucumber or maybe a reports kind of plugins, whenever you try to add, those informations and all would be added here. Okay, and there is a file called playwright config.js. So this is the file. It is going to take in care the configurations about the Playwright and all. Now see, so the test directory, it is pointing to the tests folder. So that means what it is saying, it is test dir is talking about where is your test scripts. So right now we are going to keep all our test scripts under tests folder. Let's say tomorrow if you want to change it, you can change it, and then that name you have to provide it here. Now see, runs the tests in a file in parallel. See, I told you Playwright by default it is a supporting parallel mode nature. So fully parallel is equal to true. So that means if you are keeping as true, whenever you try to execute the test scripts internally, it will, I mean, when it is executing it, it will execute it in the parallel mode. So like this. So for fail build on continuous integration if accidentally left the test dot only. So all the related like by default report right now it is going to show in the HTML format. Okay. So then next, what are all the browsers are supported like Chromium. So that means Chrome related browser, Firefox, Safari. So right now these three browsers are configured. Right now these three browsers are configured. Let's say whenever you try to run your scripts, it is going to execute in these three browsers. Okay, so you can modify it. So this is completely configurations file related to Playwright. And so internally the default timeout for the Playwright is 30,000 milliseconds. That means 30 seconds. Okay, so it is going to wait for the element 30 seconds. Okay, if within 30 seconds if it is not able to find out, that time you will get timeout error. Okay, so this is the default structure of this Playwright. So hereafter we are going to start implementing our test scripts under this tests folder, and we are going to run it. Okay, thank you. In the next video section we'll start creating the test scripts under